Hot takes are like assholes. Everyone's got one. Nobody wants to hear about it. Except for me. The hot takes, that is. I asked my Twitter followers to give me their hottest takes, and I'm gonna go through them all and react to them.
Collective punishment is necessary to deter crime, i.e. if someone commits murder, their whole family and their friends should also be punished/sent to jail.
To a certain extent, the people surrounding somebody do have an effect on their actions, and there should be some sort of retribution for contributing to delinquency. I wouldn't agree with mass punishment unless it's something very severe.
The Brown invasion is enabled by Christianity.
There is a certain amount of responsibility that Christianity has for the way the world is now. It's doubtless that the entire Western mindset is a Christian mindset. All of our morality accomplishments can be chalked up to a combination of Christian and pagan values, which is why Europe conquered the world. Unfortunately, some impulses have been taken to their extreme, and our better nature has been used against us.
Flat chests are better and fascist pilled.
I'm sorry, that's just wrong.
Gooning to Sydney slutty, femboys, and underage anime girls is not Aryan behavior. There is no such thing as a white South American, except for first-generation European immigrants and extremely rare cases. Iberians are not white.
I believe Iberians to be Mediterranean whites, similar to Italians, Greeks. It depends on who you talk to if you think they're white or not. I think they're white. But South America is very much not the whitest place in the world.
Hitler was not against Christianity, rather against the church, as he wanted total control of the German people. He was not a pagan nor was he Christian, he was simply indifferent on religion and had bigger things to worry about.
I almost don't want to touch this one, because this one's actually really controversial in our community, because everyone's interpretation on Hitler's views of religion based off various things he said from various different times. I don't know enough to have an opinion on this.
Big fan of the government. 30 on 30. I'm not a big fan of the government.
I would say something controversial in the favor of fascism or nationalism, but to people here it won't be controversial, so I guess instead I'll say the Bolsheviks were based in what they did to the Tsar. I think most people in this space would disagree.
It's easy to moral about the things that the Reds do, because typically if the Reds are doing it, it's morally reprehensible. But in this case, I think it was the correct action to make, strategically speaking. You can't exile the Tsar, lest him and his family become a lightning rod for a counter-revolution. The Reds won because they were unified. The Whites lost because they were incapable of properly working together. Preventing a figurehead from being able to consolidate power was the right choice. I believe it was the smart decision to make. I know that's not a fun thing to say about murdering a family, but that's what monarchist politics entail. They've been killing each other and killing rival claimants to the throne and their families for all of human history.
Black licorice isn't that bad.
Probably the worst one so far.
Stupidest opinion ever, but America is too big. Like FYM, Texas is the entire size of Europe, like holy shit.
America's pretty big. One could even say humongous.
The greatest thing about the Russian Revolution is that it's Russian.
Even that's debatable.
Anarchy is preferable to most kinds of right-wingism.
Within the modern conception of the right, I'd have to agree, but in the grand scope of the hundreds of ideologies that are all piled together into what we call the right wing, I'd have to disagree. Anarchy is never something permanent. It is merely a temporary power vacuum before somebody sets up shop.
Non-whites are just as much as victims to Jews than whites. Same boat sort of thing.
Zog is incapable of loving anything other than itself. Anything besides those of the tribe are tools to be used and disposed of, including some members of the tribe. They're willing to throw each other under the bus when necessary. If we lose, if whites are eradicated from this planet, non-whites will follow shortly after.
I do sadly believe reactionaries have a better chance at winning in the long run than us in a lot of European countries.
I think that really depends on how you define a reactionary. Plenty of people believe that we're reactionaries.
The vast majority of whites, likely including myself, have to go.
Revolution is a spectator sport. The majority will sit in the stands and watch the factions fight. At the end, they will choose to side with the team that is winning. George Lincoln Rockwell. The fact of the matter is that won't be necessary. The majority of people go with the crowd. They abide by the laws that they are given. They believe the words they are told. People will fall in line and fall into a way of thinking faster than they even realize.
Asinima good, Otoya bad is weep slop.
I understand that the situation was a lot more complicated than typically portrayed because the picture goes unbelievably hard. However, I believe that political is always based.
America should be annexed into Canada if Canada is able to establish a nationalist government before America. And if America is able to establish a nationalist government, they shouldn't annex Canada and just wait until we become nationalist and just be peaceful with us.
I'm not against the idea of a united Anglo-America. However, I don't believe any world exists where it's brought about by Canadians.
I like women.
How could you say something so controversial, yet so brave?
Corporatism is honestly not a bad idea. What makes it a bad idea is who are the CEOs and who is the leader of the country.
There's no need to elaborate on this, because you can pretty quickly get an immediate vision of how this could go wrong if it was brought about in the wrong circumstances, especially from an American understanding, or more accurately, an American misunderstanding, considering how corporatism is always misconstrued.
Most conversations of the essay being purged are retarded because it's people arguing about the leaders being perverts and not the fact that a few years before the essay tried to overthrow Hitler and it was becoming increasingly obvious they didn't want to cooperate with Hitler's vision.
The Night of the Long Knives and the purging of the essay's leadership is a point of contention amongst many factions, especially fascists. To my own chagrin, even though I believe it is one of the things that National Socialism did perfectly, and something that Mussolini's government could have done a lot more of. There was so much dead weight, so many power structures pulling in different directions, that this consolidation would have been a good move in any government.
Epstein wasn't that bad.
I'm gonna give this guy the benefit of the doubt. This was before the most recent big leaks happened that he said this.
Worldviews and general thought patterns aren't determined by biology. Our species' brain malleability is on a core level. Genes responsible for that being seen in some of the earliest H. sapiens remains.
There are certain behavior patterns that we have mapped to certain trackable gene clusters. So there is a certain amount of behavior that is biological. Some races are more prone to think and act in certain ways. This is not pseudoscience from the 1930s. This is something we can prove now. It just hasn't been applied in a way that could be problematic. That being said, this is the classic clash between nature and nurture. I believe the truth is somewhere in the middle. I believe there is a certain amount about you that you have no control over, that you were born this way, and that it's deep in your genetic code and you could never change. But also, to that nurture side, people have to be raised a certain way. People think a certain way. You think in terms of your culture. You can't think outside of your culture. You think in the language of your parents. You use euphemisms and logical structures from that culture. It's in a way, it's a combination of the two. Your body is the machine, the computer, and your culture, your society is your operating system. These things mesh together to create a unique human being. So yes and no.
Postmodern fascism is based.
Well, yeah, that's what I am.